The good doctor, Britt Baker, was on the Rasslin podcast with Brandon Walker this week. Not Braden Walker, Brandon Walker. Two different things. Did you guys hear? I almost put it on the show last week, but it was a last-minute clip. You know, I was actually listening to it while I was doing up the last of my thumbnails. So it didn't make the cut last week, but did you hear Bruce Pritchard fucking bury Braden Walker on Something to Wrestle last week? Like a fucking burial. Like, I mean, Braden Walker, you remember the it's probably still out there, the YouTube video that's the 3-disc DVD set, the best of Braden Walker. Some of you are like, who the fuck is Braden Walker? That's the not Cowboy James Storm's, his tag team partner. What was his name in fucking TNA? Doesn't matter. We're not talking about him. We're talking about Brandon Walker in his show Rasslin. Doesn't do the show a whole lot anymore. I think he doesn't get much funding. He's under the he works for Barstool Sports, and I just think they're not getting a lot of funding for the show. So he pops in and does interviews here or there, especially for pay-per-views, especially for AEW pay-per-views. And, of course, we have the Revolution pay-per-view going on this weekend. And Britt Baker was on the show to promote. Yeah, it took me this long to get to Britt Baker. Fuck off. Brandon Walker. It was funny. I didn't get to talk about it last week, so I'm talking about it this week. But she was on the podcast with Brandon Walker, and he asked her flat out, what are your thoughts? How did you feel about the Brawl Out situation? And this is what Britt Baker had to say. Check out this clip.
What were your thoughts following All Out media scrum about 6 months ago? You know, that was one of the dominant stories in wrestling. It obviously made big headlines. I don't know that I ever got your thoughts. What were your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, I actually don't even think I've ever given my thoughts. But so just speaking solely on what I watched, because that's all I can talk about is what I saw and the scrum and what I heard. And as someone who loves AEW more than anything in the world and has so much pride, and at a time when it felt like we were really like something special, and we had some of the biggest names in professional wrestling all like fighting for our same team, and especially after a huge pay-per-view. That pay-per-view was amazing. It was one of the biggest houses we ever had. That scrum was heartbreaking, and it was embarrassing, and it was disappointing because it just felt like, and for a moment in time, that this felt like a very much a disaster, and you never want that to happen, and that happens every day. There's days where I like stub my toe in the dental office. I'm like, oh my god, this is a disaster. You never want that feeling. It happens all the time, and that was definitely a time in AEW where I was like, man, this sucks. And again, just me speaking personally, I think the scrums are really cool because it's after a pay-per-view and you get to speak to these wrestlers, and there's a lot of emotion, and they get to talk to you about what's going on in the ring, what they're feeling, their storylines. And in a way, it humanizes these very larger than life wrestlers that you just saw wrestle for 30 minutes in the ring or whatever. But that time needs to be used proactively and responsibly, because I can sit here with you. How much time do we have left?
As much as we need. 20 minutes.
Well, say minutes. If I sit here and do nothing but tell you everybody I hate, everything that I'm mad at, or let's go through all the Twitter lies about me and debunk them all, like that's not proactive, and that would be selfish of me to use your time and the world's time like that.
Sure.
I would rather, let's put over this freaking pay-per-view, else going awesome in AEW. And is that other stuff there? Of course. Are there people here I don't like? Of course. Are there things I don't like? Of course. But I'm still a soldier for AEW, and I'm on the front lines. I'm fighting for my team, and I'm going to put it over.
As a soldier, do you think the people that are still in the company might have been unfairly characterized after that? Or are there things that we might think about the whole situation that maybe aren't right? I don't know how to ask the question. I'm just saying, are there anybody that was unfairly judged off of that situation?
I think probably everybody involved was somehow wrongly characterized. We weren't there. I wasn't there. You weren't there. So that will be that. But what I can say is AEW is still a special place. And when maybe that was a little, wrinkle in the fabric, but we ironed it out, and we're still a super strong company, a super strong a family.
Yeah, that's the exact response. I understand that fully. It is heartbreaking. It's a letdown, man. It's a bummer because I think in a lot of ways it killed AEW. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say this is the death of AEW or anything like that. But I think if the book was to ever be written about the rise and fall of AEW, I don't know that the first sentence, the first paragraph of the chapter that begins the downfall of AEW starts with Brawl Out. And it was really a dark day in AEW history because it just made them look so weak, so pitiful. It made Tony look weak. It made them look like they had no control. It made them look like they're fucking just a bunch of clowns. Punk put down the entire company. It was a horrible look. And that's what made me look. I'm the biggest CM Punk fan. I got the ice cream sandwich. Look. Look, it's the ice cream sandwich Punk. Look at that. That's the shit right there. The fucking ice cream sandwich. And I was there. I got the sandwich. I ate the sandwich. It was a good sandwich. We wanted to save it. We had the idea, me and the kids, of saving our ice cream sandwiches, but we didn't know we were going to get ice cream sandwiches, so we didn't bring a cooler. Stupid us didn't bring a cooler to the wrestling show, with ice packs and stuff. So it would have been a very melty, still in the package, still in the bag, but and you could always refreeze it, but it would be a melty fucking mess. Anyway, digression. I'm a huge CM Punk fan. That really stung. And I remember saying if it wasn't on this show, it was maybe I did a reaction to it as well. That it took a lot of my love out of CM Punk. It really did. It made me look at him in a different way because he just so unabashedly buried the entire company. And now look, there's days I saw in the comments on one of Dax's videos, somebody said the more I listen to Dax Harwood podcast, the more I think CM Punk was right. And that's funny because it's true. It's such a nuanced gray. Even Kenny Omega said in his interview with Renee Paquette that it's not black and white. It's not this side is good, this side is bad. Everybody was in the wrong a little bit. Everybody was in the right a little bit, at least in their own heads. And like Kenny said, fights happen. The fight's not even the big deal. It's the burial of the company to the public. And I get where Punk was coming from with the whole thing, because if you'll remember, to Punk's credit, at that time, it was getting leaked out to the dirt sheets that Punk was the one responsible for Colt Cabana being demoted or kicked out or whatever, sent down to Ring of Honor, almost just losing his job completely. Which, to me, like, Colt Cabana, yeah, he's an indie hero, right? Like, he's an indie legend. He is the fucking prototypical indie wrestler, with the t-shirts and the podcast and the just, he's really made a business for himself. The pro wrestling tees, the 1 hour tees, whatever gimmick that he's got going on there. He's part owner in that. Colt does good for himself, but I just don't like Colt Cabana at all. Not even a little bit. And not just on a wrestling level. Like, even when I listen to his podcasts, he bugs me. There's just something grating about Colt Cabana. But Punk, swears he had nothing to do with it. And he took this as his opportunity to let the fucking media know to their faces. All of this shit that's being leaked to you guys, it's all bullshit. But then, the problem is that he let that continue into just airing out his dirty laundry and grievances and making his fucking boss look like a cuck. You know what I mean? Just sit there and fucking take it. Just watch and fucking jerk off in the corner to it if you like it or something. But shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Even when he tried to speak up, Punk's like, no, yeah, I got this. I'm not done yet. So, unapologetically, by the way, will not, has not, won't, not gonna happen. But it was a very dark day. I get where Britt's coming from. I get how she feels. And I get if that made both wrestlers and fans look at Tony Khan and AEW completely different. It certainly made me look at all of it differently. It made me look at Punk differently. It made me look at Tony Khan differently. I always knew Tony was a nerd. And that, he didn't have the balls that like a Vince does. But, I genuinely liked him as a co-wrestling nerd, right? I'm a nerd. He's a nerd. We're wrestling nerds. It's fine. It's fine. But the more I get of Tony Khan too, with his that shit with Ariel Helwani last week, he's just a fuck. And now with hearing about how the FTR, for example, according to Dax, unless he's just playing the internet and they're plotting a return soon, but according to Dax, they've told Tony that they're interested in coming back to at least till the end of their contract until something's worked out, if something's worked out. And he's said that the FTR has not heard back from Tony Khan on that. Not only that, but when they acknowledged the Wrestling Observer Awards, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well, when he acknowledged the Wrestling Observer Awards, when AEW did on their Twitter, it was Feud of the Year with the Briscoes or something. It was FTR and the Briscoes. All they mentioned was the Briscoes. They didn't mention FTR. Petty, right? Petty as shit. What's their beef with FTR? Is it just more of that same thing that we heard from, I don't even remember their names now, whoever the fuck used to work for AEW and said once they were let go, Tony just stopped talking to them, they just heard nothing. Their contract was coming to an end, and that's it. No, nothing. Not even a goodbye. Not even if we have no interest in re-signing you, then we're just not even gonna talk to you. It's bad business. Tony Khan does bad business all around. And bringing it all the way back to this Britt Baker interview and her thoughts on the All Out Brawl Out, I think this was, like I said, if we were to write the book on the end of AEW, the rise and fall. And I'm not predicting the fall of AEW. In fact, I predicted last week they're going to get a bigger, better TV deal and that they're going to be around a while. But they're also looking at losing the Young Bucks and losing Kenny Omega and losing MJF. Where are they going to be then? I think Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho can carry that fucking company. Those two aren't going back, but who else? They're going to lose Jungle Boy, too, probably at some point. They're going to lose Wardlow. They're going to lose Will Hobbs. They're going to lose Jade Cargill, Britt Baker. I'm taking all of them if I'm WWE. Tony Khan's got to pay more money. But sometimes money's not enough either. You got to communicate. You got to talk with your talent. You got to have a rapport with them. You got to know what they want and need. The more I listen to Dax's podcast, just to kind of throw that in the mix here, like that dude said, CM Punk's right about a lot of this stuff. Should it have been said in the way that it was said? But I don't think he's totally wrong. I think you got to be a pretty big young buck mark to look at this situation and be like, yeah, Young Bucks are completely right. You know, even Kenny Omega said everybody was in the wrong. So big fucking mess that they have yet to recover from in my eyes. The best way to recover from it is to make a big fucking angle out of it. That's what you do. Because theoretically, you could just play it off as it was a work the whole time. Because CM Punk could have came back from that match before he went and did his little fucking Brawl Out shoot promo thing. And been told by the doctor, like, yeah, bro, you're fucked up. You're going to need to take some time off. He knew, whether it was just experience as an athlete, being in the ring, knowing his body, or if he was told by a doctor already. He was seen and checked out and told, you're going to be out for a while, bro. So let's shoot an angle. Let's get everybody talking. You know what I mean? And if you look at Tony Khan, he was making some faces during that fucking thing. And if you've ever seen him act, you know, try to be in character, he likes to make faces and stuff. So I don't know if that was a natural reaction, a very nervous, twitchy nerd, just insecure in himself and not sure how to handle the situation, most likely. But it's plausible this whole thing is an elaborate work. And Punk's got a really smart wrestling brain. And we already know he likes the work shoot. He likes that style. Who's to say? We got FTR. They're working it on the podcast. Who's to say it doesn't come all the way back? You know, they're working the whole thing. These behind the scenes beefs between everybody. Who knows? Maybe we'll never know. Hard to say, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah, and you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Oh yeah, dig it.